Welcome back to the Out of the Rough podcast presented by We Know Fantasy. As always, my name is Nate with We Know Fantasy, and joining me as always is my co-host Jake. Jake, how are we doing today?
We're doing pretty good, Nate. I did not get a chance to watch the Altfield event, but the Scottish Open, um, that was definitely some entertainment. Not so much on the outright perspective for us, but yeah, down the stretch, I mean, you have Rory in contention going into the back nine. You kind of think that, it's his to just take away, and then Goddard just he won that tournament. He went out there, he won it. Uh, Kind of a little bit of unsuspecting. Like he fit the bill, right? Bombed and gouged and made his putts and all that. But good for Goddard, a great win for him, a big field event win for him, got him into the Open this week. And yeah, that is, I mean, New Jersey native, Northeast guy, so I'll back him there. But definitely some good golf. I know we were both on Ludwig, who just played himself out of it on Saturday. He laid an absolute goose egg. I'm frustrated with him. I don't even want to harp on that. But I had Matty Fitz going into Sunday with a little bit of hope, but just couldn't get it done. But again, congrats to Goddard.
Yeah, one of those surprise. I think it was like 80 or 90 on the betting cards. I mean, it's a weird field to, in a full field event of that nature, he's probably 120 plus because you had 75 DP World Tour guys on there. And, some of the DP World Tour guys were around his number. So congrats to him. Big win for him in his career. And kind of one of those guys we just harped on as an outfield guy who could hit the ball a mile, and that's about it. And got himself a big victory with Rory McIlroy chasing him down. So congrats there. It was another frustrating week on the betting aspect on all tours for me. I mean, I had multiple people in contention on four different tours. I think going into moving day, Friday into Saturday, I had four different tours. I had a first, second, and two thirds across four tours, and not a single ticket to talk about. Um, Saturdays have been not good for me. I've had numerous times now with multiple people in contention going into Saturdays and playing themselves out of it. I had Somi Lee, the leader, after 36 holes on the LPGA, the Amundi Evian Championship, played herself out of it. Ludwig there. I had Nikolai, who kind of gave it a shout there, ahead into the back nine at the Scottish as well, just too little, too late. Forgetting who else. So yeah, Vince Whaley with a T4, I think, at the ISCO had a chance there. Really frustrating times. I mean, I got to keep telling myself the models are doing what they're supposed to do. They're putting me in place to have guys in contention down the stretch. Just need a little luck. There's a lot of luck to do with this golf betting thing. Betting in general, gambling is a luck thing. There is a skill to it, obviously. I think we both have hit on that, but in the same sense, I need some of that luck to roll back my way. I mean, the start of the season was fantastic for me. I was hitting winners left and right, big winners at that. So I'm still very profitable in the season. It's just getting frustrated recently with so many close calls and nothing to take to the bank, I guess, in literal and figuratively. So there's that, but that's all behind us because we're the final major of the season here, Jake, the Open Championship at Royal Portrush, last time played here, 2019, where Shane Lowry won his, I think it's his only PGA. Well, no, he won another PGA victory, one of
Yeah, he
two at
won at
least.
Florida. Yeah,
Yeah, what Valspar, I think it was.
that sounds right to me.
I think so. At or the Honda, I guess at the time, maybe. Either way,
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and then we have an outfield event, the Barracuda Championship with that stable Ford. Am I saying that right? I think
I think so.
something like that. We know what we're talking about, guys. Don't
Yeah,
worry
that
about it.
terrible scoring.
Yeah, it's a point system, and we'll get into that. We'll talk about that really briefly. We're not going to harp too much on the Barracuda this week because the field is god awful. We'll mainly focus, of course, on the final major of the PGA Tour season here, and of course, the PGA Tour season is winding down. After this, we have 5 more weeks, two regular season, three playoffs. Then we're done for the season, guys. So yeah, a lot of more golf still to talk about, including this week. Before we hop into things, Jake, where can people find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at DJ Freeman on Twitter. I'll be posting my both my outright cards there, but the Open Championship will be more full than the Barracuda, that's for sure. Also, be sure to join our Discord, completely free to join. Reach out to Nate or myself to get you in there. It's a great golf group chat of close to 200 people in there now. Great conversations, debates, everything you could think of, DFS, outright betting, just the sport of golf. We have casual people to professional gamblers in there. So really, again, a great tool to have at your disposal. We also have a NASCAR channel with Devin and Cody that's been very active on race day. That's also completely free to use. So if that's of any interest to you, reach out to us and we'll get you in there.
Yeah, definitely a great tool to have at your fingertips. Not only the golf, the NASCAR, some other channels in there as well. Soccer season's right around the corner with the EPL starting up here not too long from now. So yeah, a lot of great content there, free of charge, 100%. So be sure to check that out. Hit us up for that link. You can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at WKF Nate. Be sure to follow We Know Fantasy on all forms of social media at We Know Fantasy. Be sure to visit WeKnowFantasy.com for some more fantasy sports content, fantasy baseball, basketball, football, NASCAR, golf, and everything in between. We have you covered on there. My weekly PGA Tour Out of the Rough Golf Betting article series, where I really go in depth each and every week. DFS breakdown, if you're looking for that, that's on there as well. DP World Tour, LPGA Majors, in depth breakdowns and betting cards there as well. Beyond that, you can find strokes game data per grass type. You can find the Out of the Rough one and done. You can find a lot of things on there. So again, another great free tool to have at your fingertips. And if you're looking for the weekly We Know Fantasy newsletter, where I compile everything we have to offer each and every week, including free exclusive placement charge per tournament, be sure to ask about that, being added to that as well. But with that being said, let's move forward here to the 153rd playing of the Open Championship, of course, the longest standing golf tournament in the entire world. We're here at Royal Portrush, that first held its first play in the Open Championship in 1951, where Max Faulkner won. Then we had to wait a mere 68 years for the second play in 2019, where Shane Lowry, of course, won. And then 6 years later, it was rewarded with another chance to host the Open Championship with this year's installment. Let's see, Jake, today's Monday, so 5, 6 days away from crowning the champion golfer of the year. Field this week, we know who we're getting at this point. Shane Lowry defending champion at Portrush. Xander Schauffele defending champion, 2 strokes over Justin Rose and Billy Horschel at Royal Troon a season ago. Rory McIlroy, kind of a hometown chip as we're in Northern Ireland this week. See if he can get another major to his name. Scotty Scheffler looks to add to his already storied career, having won the PGA championship this season and 2 Masters, so he'll be on his third leg of a potential career Grand Slam. Other notable golfers, you have Tommy Fleetwood, Ludwig Oberg, Victor Hovland, Robert McIntyre, Colin Morikawa, Matt Fitzpatrick, Sepp Straka, Adam Scott, and Justin Rose. Live Golf will be represented by 17 golfers this week. Of course, none more notable than Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Tyrrell Hatton, Joakim Niemann, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed. You have 3 former Open champions representing Live this week. Cameron Smith in 22, Phil Mickelson in 13, and Luis Oosthuizen in 2010. Other former champions, you have Brian Harman in 23, Morikawa 21, Francisco Molinari in 18, Jordan Spieth in 17, Henrik Stenson in 16, Zach Johnson in 15, McIlroy 14, Ernie Els 12 in 2002, Darren Clarke in 2011, Stuart Sink in 2009, Patrick Harrington in 2008 and 2007, and Justin Leonard way back in 1997. Course this week, Royal Portrush, par 71 at 7,344 yards. This historic venue was established in 1888 by Old Tom Morris, and I love when a name includes a capital Old in front of them. I whatever, that tickles my fancy a bit. So Old Tom Morris, recreated in 1932 by Harry Colt. The how do I say that, Jake?
I have no idea.
Okay. I was hoping you were to be the reason there, but either way, this is the course that we played this week, is described as a masterpiece and a genius design. In order to host the 2019 edition of the Open Championship, the old 17th and 18th holes had to be removed to make way for the Spectator Village. The former 18th hole, you're not missing much. This course was once described as a course to have 17 world-class holes and then the 18th hole. So losing that hole wasn't much of a hindrance to this golf course. 17 was a decent hole, but pretty straightforward. So they found room on the outskirts of the Valley course and other courses on the grounds for 2 brand new holes. The new 17th and 18th were designed by Martin Ebert, and we played as the 7th and 8th holes this week. Royal Portrush is not your typical links style course. It doesn't play out and back. Every hole seems to play in a different direction. The sand dunes make it very difficult on golfers to gauge and adjust for wind as well. Off the tee, there's an emphasis this week on hitting it straight, more so than other link style courses. Bunkers, of course, littered throughout, tall fescue grass, and additionally, take the first hole in consideration this week. You have out of bounds on both sides of the tee, or of the fairway, off the tee here, the first hole. So a nervy way to start your Open Championship. You can really play yourself out of it right away if you were to hit one out of bounds off the first tee. So something to take note of this week. Approach play is much more important here at Royal Porch Rust opposed to other link style courses. Many of the greens and green complexes feature false fronts and runoffs, which will make getting up and down very difficult. Around the green play, of course, will be more important than most link styles as well. There will be at sometimes you will have to play from 5 feet below the green to save par, which is not traditional link style golf courses, as their greens kind of morph into the out of the green around the green areas where you can lag putt up and things like that. You won't be able to do that this week. Um, yeah, scoring, of course, depending on the weather, that's the big thing here in not only Scotland but England and in this case Northern Ireland during this time of the year. Weather can change at a dime. You're playing coastal golf in Northern Ireland, so flip of a switch, wind gusts can come through at 25, 30 miles per hour in a dime. So beyond that, this course can be attacked rather easily, and if the weather allows, can allow for some low scoring if elite ball striking, approach play, keep it between the green or the lines into the fairway, excuse me, but it can very well be derailed super quick as well. Some drastic swings in that nature if they are to miss a green, find some tall fescue around the green can really take some people out of it. So avoiding those big blow up holes will be crucial this week, and playing the weather as it doesn't look to be ideal this week as well. But yeah, Jake, anything to add about this course, venue, anything before we move forward?
Yeah, I've actually got a wind finder up right now. So as it stands right now, it looks like Thursday morning is going to be really windy. Friday morning is going to be rainy. And then Sunday is supposed to rain pretty much all day with winds picking up pretty drastically in the afternoon. Nate, if I were to refresh this in an hour, this forecast could completely flip. So this is something that, especially if you're playing DFS, please, for the love of God, do not fill out your lineup and not look at the forecast because that is the quickest way to lose. Just look on Wednesday night before you go to bed, before the tournament starts. Check the forecast, do yourself some due diligence, and put yourself a leg up on some other people who might just blindly be playing some players.
Yeah, this is where like tee times are crucial, not only if you're playing in the first round leader market, but overall, like you mentioned, it wind early Thursday, rain early Friday. So if you have people in those time slots, and just track it, guys. It's super easy in today's day and age to type in, Portrush weather, and everything will pop up. You can see hourly breakdowns, all of that. So be crucial and worry about that because that could be the difference maker in, again, like a DFS lineup cashing or not.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk about our picks this week. Again, we just talked about not blindly playing guys, but here we are blindly playing guys. But when you're playing across the 4 rounds looking for a winner, I guess you can do that now. Jake, I have, I think, 6 people on my card.
I've got five.
All right, so I'll kick things off here. And this is a future I placed a few weeks back, maybe a month or so. And that's Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm is very good at the Open and has been across the last 5 seasons. Doing so seventh a season ago. He was the runner up in 2023, 34th in 2022, third in 2021, and 11th in 2019. Playing on the Live Golf Tour, it's hard to gauge in stats and things of that nature, but he was second last week at Live Golf Andalusia, 11th in Dallas, 8th in Virginia, 7th in Korea, 4th in Mexico, 9th in Miami, 5th in Singapore, 6th in Hong Kong, 6th in Adelaide, and 2nd in Riyadh on the season. Across the prior 3 majors this season as well. 7th at the US Open, 8th at the PGA Championship, 14th at the Masters. Placed 7th at the Open Championship again last season. So he plays the Open really well. This is a type of guy who plays this style of golf perfect. I mean, talk about the weather and low ball flights, hitting the quote unquote stingers we talked about last week with the Genesis, but it's going to be more so prevalent this week. Got to keep that ball flight down. He has the style to do that, has a game to do that. Every major I talk about Jon Rahm because the odds are usually favorable for the live guy. And yeah, I mean, I think he's at like 12 now, so the 14 future isn't crazy. I thought we'd be down to 10 by this point, but it's live will keep that doing. If he wasn't the PGA, he'd be an 8 or so at this point. But yeah, Jon Rahm 14.
Yeah, I think Rory playing really well last week helped Jon Rahm's odds kind of stick to this 12 number. If Rory kind of just punted last week, it would have been a completely different story. But yeah, love the Rahm play. I think if you're playing the top of the board, he's the most enticing. Scotty has proven that he is a little weary overseas. There's something that is just doesn't click for him overseas. I mean, for Scotty, not clicking is a
Yeah.
top 10, but the door is open for a victory for some of these other guys, and John Rahm fits the bill extremely well here. Loves the Open Championship. Has been peppering top tens and top fives all season long on Live, which again with a grain of salt, but still good finishes, great ball striking numbers, and yeah, I could totally see him having a good week this week and winning.
Yeah, it'd be different like if he was on Live and he was like 32nd one week, third the next, 49th, one. He's top five almost every single week. He doesn't have a win on Live, but he's top five every single week. And then the three former majors as well. What was it, seventh, ninth, and 11th or something like that, playing those extremely well. His problem so far has been closing. Sundays have not been great. He had the lead going to the back nine of the PGA, I think it was. Um, yeah, blew that. And then in the same sense, the Olympics last year, of course, had a demanding lead there going to the back nine and lost to Scotty Scheffler. So I don't know if it's a live style of golf, playing 3 rounds is doing it to him, but at some point, John Rahm is too good of a golfer. He is, in my opinion, a top three, top four at least golfer in the world. So it's going to come together at some point, and I think this could be the week. And this golf course, the style of golf, and of course the placements of the last 5 seasons proves that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
All right, Jake, who's your opener here?
Yeah, I went definitely deeper down the board here. I'm opening up with Sepp Straka at 60 to 1. He's been absolutely abysmal in majors this year. I will get that off my chest right away. He's missed 3 cuts in a row at those 3 opportunities. So it's really ugly, but if you had asked me blindly at any point during Sepp Straka's career which major he had the best chance of winning, I would tell you the Open, and that's without a doubt. Um, he's very accurate off the tee. His irons are incredible. The putter has been nuclear over the last couple weeks. He's playing his best golf of his career. Two-time winner on the PGA Tour this season already. He has some of his best major finishes at the Open. He has a T2 in 2023 and then a T22 last year. Didn't play in that 2019 rendition here, but this course kind of fits him well. I am a little bit nervous about the around the green play, but what I like to see is that last week he gained almost a stroke per round around the green. The week before at the Travelers, he was slightly positive too around the green. His game is one that should fit this bill really, really well. I think 60's a big enough number to take a shot on for a guy who's played horrible in majors. Like, there's no shying away from that. But I think 60 leaves plenty of room for you to take a risk on him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Subtruck, of course, popped on my model because stats are telling me that he is a fantastic golfer, and he has been this season, right? With 2 victories so far this season. But the major performances have been very lackluster this season, especially with all the high hopes and everything he's done so far this season with the 2 victories with the American Express and then the Truist. You would have expected something at least made a cut somewhere, the PGA, the
Right.
US Open, somewhere along the lines. Just never got it done. So that was a bit of worry for me, but man, stats wise, this guy is one of the best golfers in the entire world, and rightfully so. And you got a big number at 60 to 1 for a guy who suits this golf course very well. What was he, runner up in 2023? I guess, again, take that with a
Yeah.
grain of salt because Brian Harman lapped the field that year because, what was it, like 5 or 6 strokes he won by. But you had a few people, John Rahm, Tom Kim, were in that same realm as Sepp Straka. But again, a great performance there at a golf course with some fair weather. It wasn't horrible. That Sunday was rainy, but it wasn't like last year where some people were playing like unplayable conditions and Xander Schauffele just kind of waited the storm, both literally and figuratively, that year to come back on top. But yeah, again, it was just the performance of the past 3 majors this season that kind of kept me away from Substraka. But again, it's baked in the number, right? 60 to 1.
Yeah.
I'll talk about a guy later that I shouldn't be betting because of past performances of the US Open. But the number has it baked in, and it's a big enough number where I can take that chance.
Yeah, exactly. That was my logic there.
All right. So my next play here is Victor Hovland at 30 to 1. So my John Rahm was a future, and I shouldn't think this way, but futures kind of get like washed for me, right? Because it's not like coming out of my account the second I place my card. So with that being said, I think I could take a chance here at 31 to Victor Hovland, even at 14 to go to a 30. It's doable, and with some longer shots on the card, I can justify it. So Victor Hovland 30 to 1, 11th last week in Genesis after a reported like herniated disc in the neck or something, and that saw him, miss a few weeks there. What was he? He withdrew from the Truist or just didn't play the Truist. I forget exactly, but
Yeah.
11th last week of Genesis, third of the U.S. Open, 25th of the Memorial, 28th of the PGA, 13th at the RP's Heritage, 21st at the Masters, won the Valspar, of course, this season, back in the win column for Victor. Missed the cut at the Open Championship last season, but prior to that, 13th in 2023, fourth in 2022, and 12th in 2021. Currently first on tour in proximate the hole from 150 to 200. He's second in approach, 33rd in ball striking, 52nd in total driving. And what does it boil down to? It comes down to the round the green play, short game, essentially. The round the green play, of course, we know is Victor Hovland's weakness. If he had a confident round the green game, he would have won the 2023 PGA Championship, would have been a major winner at this point, but he was god awful, hit a lip of a bunker, played himself out of that tournament. Either way, Victor Hovland's approach game right now is nuclear. It is the best in the world by a good margin. I don't know if that stats back that up. I'm not going to look. I'm just going to talk blindly about it because at some point, like halfway the season, he was like 80th in approach, and now he's second. So he is going absolute nuclear with the irons, and it's proven with all these past performances. And the putters still let him down. The round the green plays let him down. It's the nature of this is a golf course that requires elite ball striking, elite approach play, keep it in play. Victor Hovland does that better. I shouldn't say better than anyone, but one of the best in the world in doing just that. And I think this is a good course for him, playing some great golf. Promising last week with 11th at the Genesis on a link style golf course after reported injury. So I'm not too concerned about the injury. So yeah, 30-1. I know he's very popular. I see him everywhere on Twitter right now. Just got to hope he's around the green play can kind of just remain idle, remain neutral, get himself over that hump and become Norway's first men's major champion.
Yeah, his ball striking has been nuts, Nate. I know you mentioned it, but it should not be overshadowed. At the US Open, he gained 2 strokes per round. The Travelers, he gained three, and then last week he gained 1.8 per round. Like he is hitting the ball nuclearly. If he can, if he doesn't find himself chipping too many times, it would not surprise me at all for him to win this week. I'm a little scared off because, like you, as you mentioned at the start of the show here, it's not your typical like open venue where you can kind of lag putt your way around these greens and like not have to chip. You do need to be a competent around the green player, but like you said, if we've seen him click with it before, like spurts of brilliance with the around the green, if it happens to be this week, everything else is there for Hovland to take it down.
Yeah, take a look back to 2023. I know I talk about this all the time when I talk about Victor Hovland, but man, that was a masterclass at the Tour Championship in 2023 where he
Yep.
chased down Scotty Scheffler on the back nine to win the Tour Championship. Like the around the green, everything that we thought Victor Hovland wasn't, he was that week. If that
Yeah.
can start to happen again, if any, even like half of that from that performance can come and click in his mind, he's going to win this event by 10 strokes. Like the approach play is that good. You talk about 2 strokes per round. That's not the tournament, right?
Yeah.
You're not talking about, yeah, you're talking about 8 strokes total. This man is gaining on approach at some of these tournaments. Absolutely insane stuff there. That in itself is going to keep him in this tournament. Again, just needs to wade the waters around the green and hope the putter cooperates this week. And I can very well see Victor Hovland lift the trophy at the end of this week.
Yep.
All right, let's keep rolling here. Jake, who's your next play?
Yep, my next play here was exclusively tipped in the Discord when I saw this number. It was Matt Fitzpatrick at 70-1. Shameless plug to join completely free. I put it out there as soon as I saw it. I know a couple people messaged me that they hopped on right away and loved it. Fitz had a great week last week, and he's quietly been in some incredible form. After the U.S. Open, where he finished T38, he followed that up with a T17 at the Travelers, a T8 at the Rocket Classic, and then a T4 last week, where he had a chance. He kind of just played himself out on Saturday a little bit, but anyway, he's just hitting the ball well all around. And this is a guy who should thrive at the Open. He's driving the ball both long and straight. The approach play has been great, and he's extremely competent around the greens. On the season, he's 48th in strokes gained total. He is 58th off the tee, 85th on approach, 74th around the greens, and then 54th putting. So again, not like a spike area by any means, but extremely well rounded, which we love to see. He's gotten himself into some good form. Not the greatest Open history, even though he has 2 top 20 finishes in his last 5 appearances here. And one of those is included at in the 2019 Portrush year. So it just feels like 70 was way too big of a number. I think he's down to 55. I still like it at that, but it's one of those that he's in some good form and it makes a lot of sense going home.
Yeah, no, we talked about this not being a traditional link style golf as well, but again, it's a guy who grew up playing links as well. That can't be overshadowed. It's a guy who won his first US or PGA Tour title at the US Open. That's insane to talk about. Every time I think about that, it's absolutely nuts. But yeah, a huge number for a guy that people were playing last week at much shorter odds, and we're here at the US Open, with not the US Open, the Open with much longer odds. So yes, love to play at 70-1. Not there myself, but definitely can see why.
Yep.
All right, so keep it going. We talked about this golf course. You need to be straight off the tee. You need to have a strong approach play. Russell Henley fits that bill. 65 to 1. Yes, is where I grabbed him. Let's see. He placed fifth last year at the Open Championship, missed a cut in 23, 62nd in 2022, missed a cut in 2021, but a top five a season ago. He last played the Truist, where he finished second. He also placed 10th at the U.S. Open, fifth at the Memorial across his last three starts. Currently sixth on tour around the green, so a fantastic around the green player. He's 16th on approach, 39th approximate hole from 150 to 200, 40th in total driving. And that total driving number I configured to be 70% accuracy, 30% distance. I know I keep harping on accuracy, but you do need a little bit of length here as well. 48th in sand, 54th ball striking and scrambling. 82nd three-putt avoidance. The problem comes down to the putter for Russell Henley, 143 in strokes gained putting bent grass, but he's playing the best golf of his career, right? He won the Arnold Palmer Invitational as like his stamp, his signature victory so far in his career. Next step for him would be to win a major. And this golf course, if everything we talk about, it's Russell Henley, right? Everything we talk about, amazing around the green this season. The approach play is phenomenal, top 20 approach player and one of the most accurate golfers in the world. Again, need that putter to cooperate, but if he is turning the way he is supposed to play, right? We talk about this all the time, and guys who fit bills and then miss the cut, he's going to find himself in some great opportunities. And yeah, it was just a big number, 65 to 1 for a guy who won the API, who has a littering of runner-ups and top fives this season, and going to be representing himself as Bethpage this fall as Team USA as well.
Yeah. I love the Henley shout. He was probably one of the first off my card here, just due to the lack of distance off the tee. But like you said, everything else just makes so much sense. This is a place that he should play some really good golf, coming in on some really good form. I don't have too much to add here, Nate. Hit a fifth place finish here, or a fifth place finish at the Open last year. Just the pieces kind of make sense here. If Henley isn't too crushed off the tee by his lack of distance, everything else is there for him.
Yeah, you can only hope that this accuracy is definitely a needed thing. Some of these big bombers find themselves in making some grave errors and
Yeah,
posting some big numbers to keep them in the race.
yeah,
I mean, it
definitely.
also helps that he was a 10th at US Open, which is the epitome of distance off the tee golf course, right? So, or
Right.
event, excuse me. So that helps as well. But yeah, really like that play.
Yep.
All right, who's next here, Jake?
Yep. So my third play here, another future I put in was Jason Day at 100 to 1. I think he's still at 90, so I like the play. Um, I had placed this a couple weeks ago. I'm not exactly sure how I feel. He's a very solid open player. He had a T13 in 2024, a T2 in 2023. The 2019 Portrush year, he missed the cut, a little concerning, but he's had a bit of a mixed bag of performance this year. But what I love about Jason Day is that he's a really competent short game player. He's very good around the greens, he's very good with the flat stick. The irons and the off the tee are where it can get a little iffy. He's pretty much tour average in distance, and he's a slightly below average in driving accuracy. So it really is going to come down to the off the tee, in my opinion, for him. The irons could kind of be, hit or miss for him, but they're mostly there. His form coming in, he missed the cut at the PGA Championship. He had a T23 at the US Open, a T4 at the Travelers, missed the cut at the John Deere Classic. That's concerning in just so many different ways because he was the cream of the crop in that field. But anyway, moving on to this week, Jason Day on the season, he's 47th in strokes gained total, 97th off the tee, 100th on approach, 20th around the greens, and then 64th putting. Just it's hard to even put it into words, Nate. He's 100 to 1. He's a good golfer. I took a shot.
Yeah, I talk about this all the time. The correlation between Australian golf to links golf is very close in my opinion. Very similar golf styles and layouts in terms of courses overall. And we've seen the transition. I mean, Cam Smith won here, not here. Again, we keep saying here meaning the Open Championship just 3 seasons ago as well. All these Australians play a very similar style of golf. It's I would describe it more as a more elite bomb and gouge with a strong putter. I think I guess it was is this
Yeah.
with more finesse. It's like a bomb and gouge with finesse, I guess you could say. I do like to play 100 to 1. Again, it's hard to start nitpicking and finding discrepancies with that long of a player. So yeah, we'll leave it at that, but I like to play. All right, so my next play here, I'm keeping in tune with strong approach play, and that's Corey Connors at 80 to 1. Currently 16th on tour off the tees, 19th total, driving 24th in proximity hole for 150, 200, 20th in ball striking, 52nd on approach. You know what it comes down to? I'm going to say it, the putter, right? It's always the putter with these approach guys, these guys who can. If we talked about this with like a decky so many times, Corey Connors is another guy. When the approach play is on, you don't need a putter because the approach play does all the work for you. And still, these guys still lose strokes putting when they post the ball 5 feet away from the hole. It blows my mind. You talked about it last week. Made the cut, but he lost on approach, right? But gained with the putter, which is completely opposite of what anything we think of with Corey Connors. But 80 to 1 for a guy here. Let me load this back up. Good form as well. Outside the Genesis, 27th in Canada, 25th in Memorial, 19th PGA, 11th the Truist. Played well at the Masters as well this season. 25th in the Open Championship last year, 52nd in 23, 28th in 2022, and 15th in 2021. Missed the cut last time here in 2019. But again, it's hard to compare 2019 to today because 6 years is a long, long time, especially for a lot of these guys that the cream of the crop we talk about are still in their late 20s, early 30s, and that's a ton of years to mature in terms of golf in just 6 years on the PGA Tour. So we'll take that with a grain of salt. I mean, it is nice if you were to see someone have a good performance here in 2019 and still relevant to this day. It's hard to find someone this field unless you're Shane Lowry along the way. But yeah, Corey Connors, elite iron player and approach player, great ball striker, and very good off the tee, both accurate and with a little bit of length. So we'll see what that can do with him this week.
Yeah, and the putter's been really good to Corey Connors too. That's an added bonus for a guy who hits the ball as well as he does. But I love the play, Nate.
There we go. All right. So this is your penultimate play here, Jake.
Yes, this is Maverick McNeely at 130 to
Love it.
1. Just it felt like a stupid big number for a guy who's playing good golf, and w one of the things I valued most was just hitting good drives. Like, you need to be long, you need to be accurate. It's a really tight line you need to walk. And one of the first people I think of, which is just kind of crazy, is McNeely. He could hit the ball far and he could also hit the ball pretty damn straight. It's very everything else that just kind of needs to click for him. And as of recent, the short game's been there. The irons have been positive, they haven't been popping. That's what's kind of been holding him back. He had a T22 last week at the Genesis, T17 at the Travelers, 37th at the Open, at the US Open, and then a T5 at Memorial the week before that. Missed the cut in 2 appearances at the Open, so overseas hasn't been too friendly to him. I think that's why the number's so big. But an extremely well-rounded golfer who hits the ball long, straight, and can make some putts. I had to take a shot.
Yeah, every time we talk about Maverick McNeely, it's that rare combination of elite driving, not only distance wise, but accuracy with a strong putter. It's really hard to find a golfer who does both those things extremely well. Maverick McNeely does that. I played him at PGA for that same reason this year. Didn't really come to fruition there. Had a good performance, I believe, but nothing to write home about. But yes, love to play again. We're talking big numbers for guys with certain strong suits in their game, and Maverick McNeely fits the bill. All right, Jake, my next play here. I need you to picture this. We've been talking about this since Keegan Bradley was named the U.S. Ryder Cup captain. What would happen if he were to select himself, or in the rare chance of himself playing as a top six player? That's a real possibility, especially with that win the Truist Championship, and a win this season or this week would not all, but it would secure himself as a top six player for the U.S. for the Ryder Cup. So imagine him, Captain Keegan, going overseas in the heart of, Team Europe, in a sense, winning the Open in their face to make himself a player captain. That's what I'm going for this week. 120 to 5 to 1 for Keegan Bradley this week. Huge, huge number. Stats tell me this is a great play. Eighth on tour around the green. He's 25th in total driving and bounce backs, 26th off the tee, 27th in all of first game putting bent grass, proximate hole for 150 to 200, and 3 putt avoidance, 33rd in approach, 36 ball striking, 79th scrambling, 85th sand. Last played Rocket Classic, where he plays 41st. Prior to that, won the Travelers, 33rd the U.S. Open, 7th the Memorial, 8th of the PGA. So you're wondering, why is this guy 125 to 1? And it's his track record at the Open Championship, because it's god awful. Missed the cut each of the last 5 seasons, and I think he was the last place of those who made the cut in 2019. But again, this is completely different in my opinion. This is a different golf course. This is a different golf player. This is Keegan Bradley, U.S. Ryder Cup captain. Stats tell me this is the week. And it's overseas. Again, some guys just can't transition to overseas golf, and Keegan Bradley seems to be one of those. But again, at 125 to 1, and my model telling me this is the second best golfer in this field, the Scotty Scheffler, had to take him.
Yeah, he is another guy who comes to mind when you think of who could hit the ball really long and also really straight. He's a really complete off the tee player. He checks a lot of boxes. The irons could go nuclear. He is incredible around the greens, like so freaking good around the greens. It makes so much sense, Nate. It really does. And for anything else, it's the probably the best American storyline we could imagine. So I'm all there for it.
Yeah, the storyline itself would just be something you'd write a movie about, you know?
Oh yeah. Yes. There would be a movie, I'm sure.
All right. With enough feel good stuff behind us, who's your final play, Jake?
Yeah, last play here is going to be Nick Taylor, 200 to 1. Stupid number on a guy who's he's hitting the ball so wonderfully this season. I didn't even realize until I pulled up his stats here. He's 20th in strokes gained total. He is 98th off the tee, which is not so great, but 11th on approach, 77th around the greens, and then 53rd putting. He's in such good form right now, and it kind of went under the radar almost. Dating back to the Zurich, he went T12, T17 miscut, fourth, T13, 23rd, 17, 22nd. So, uh, with all of those, he has a miscut of the PGA Championship and then top 25 finishes for like the next 8 starts. He's playing so well. He's extremely accurate off the tee, not too long off the tee, but accurate, hitting his irons wonderfully, great around the green, and short game here. 200 to 1 is just such a big number. Two missed cuts at his open, career that makes sense for a 200 to 1 guy, but the form is just too good to pass up on the number here.
Yeah, that and Nick Taylor is one of the most underrated golfers of our time, in my opinion. Like he is, how many times has he won the PGA Tour? Like 4 or 5 times now, and still every single week, no matter what the field is, he's like 100 to 1 plus, like repetitive. And same with Nick Taylor. He is such a good golfer. I don't know why he continues to be so under the radar, but everything points to him having a good week. I love to play at 200 to 1. Not much to add there, but man, this guy is such an underrated golfer.
Yeah, five-time winner on the PGA Tour, once last year, once the year before, and two times the year before that. So he's, in the winner's circle, knows how to get it done.
Yeah, insane. All right, gonna conclude my card with a long shot of my own. 250 to 1 for Davis Thompson. Currently ninth on tour in total driving and prox in the hole from 150 to 200, 14th in ball striking, 15th bounce back, 21st off the tee, 37th around the green, 79th on approach. Again, comes down to the putter, 146 in strokes gained putting bent grass. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. He last played John Deere, 18th there, 34th at the Rocket, and 35th at the Travelers. He made the cut at the Open Championship a season ago, which was his debut in the event. Big number for a guy who fits the bill. Not much else. Decent form coming in. Basically it, right? This is a guy that I thought he won 3M, or no, John Deere last year. I thought he was that was the time because he was a former like top amateur in the world, out of Georgia, fantastic, amazing golfer, so young. I thought he would be one of those guys making a push for a Ryder Cup spot. Not this year, but I still hold hope that if he wins this week, there's a good chance he would be. But beyond that, just 250, young guy, hungry guy with a lot to prove and a long, long career ahead of him.
Yeah, fits the bill of just long and accurate off the tee, great irons, and like you said, comes down to the putter. But look, Goddard gained 1.9 strokes per round with the
Yeah,
putter last week, and that's what led him to victory at the Genesis. Why not Davis Thompson doing the same exact thing? Because the rest of the game makes a lot of sense here.
there we go.
Yep.
All right, Jake, anything to add about the Open Championship?
Um, I have one more thing to add. Nate,
Okay.
Patrick Cantley is 60 to 1. How do you feel about that?
I thought about it, right? I thought about it. I just, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't think, no matter how much the stats tell me, there's not a, not even the Travelers Championship. Like, there's the thing where if you're on the player committee for the PGA Tour Championship, you do that if you're ready for retirement because, unless you're Rory McIlroy, I guess, you don't win after that. So there's that to worry about. But yeah, 61's a big number for Patrick Cantlay, top 10 player in the world, at least stats wise and all of that. But I don't see a world where he wins.
No. And one more, sorry. Morikawa 35 to 1. That number is getting close to me actually considering it. I know he's lost right now, but if that number gets to 40, I mean, how do you not? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's another thing. Top five player in the world now we're talking about. Colin Morikawa having those caddy issues, brought in a legendary caddy last week, and then I don't know if he's played with him again this week. He is completely lost. The putting is so bad. I mean, this course, it feels like this is a course built for Scotty Scheffler and Colin Morikawa, who play very similar games. Scotty Scheffler, world number one, transparent everywhere he goes. Colin Morikawa, different story. I'd like to say I can't believe he would win. I would be very upset if he did. How many times I've bet him the last 2, 3 years and he hasn't won. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking 40 to 1 for Colin Morikawa, I don't know if it'd be a petty bet, but it would have to be one that had to be made.
Yeah. Okay, that was all I had.
All right. I guess we'll talk real briefly about the Barracuda Championship. Beyond that, Jake, I'm not going to go really in depth here. If you guys are looking for an in depth breakdown, check out my article on WinoFans.com. It'll be posted probably by the time you listen to this. But the only thing to really note about this event is the scoring format, which is a modified stable forward. Basically, good play results in points, bad play minus points. Simple enough, right? Let's see. Albatross is 8 points, Eagle 5, Birdie 2, Par 0, Bogey -1, and Double Bogey -3. So if you're really going for it and you're a birdie fest type of guy, 2 point for a birdie, -1 for a bogey really tempts you to go for things. 5 for an eagle, -3 for a double. Like it really tempts golfers to really go for it at all aspects of it. And it allows for like, there are some dramatics down the stretch, right? Because you can make up a lot of ground in a hurry. um, Actually, between 2023, back nine come from behind. Nick Dunlap last year, back nine come from behind. Very easy to do. I shouldn't say very easy to do, but is very capable in allowing to do in the scoring format. It's the only golf event of the entire season that allows a different scoring format than, I mean, unless you want to take in consideration like the Zurich. But beyond that, this is the only event that does this. And I believe this is the last year this event's being held. Speculation is because, anyways, well, I really won't go to depth. But I have, I need to load these here, Jake. But I have four plays myself this week. I know you have two names slotted in there, and I'll just really talk about mine real quick for, then you can talk about your two real quick. And
Yeah.
mine, first one's Vince Whaley at 25, just because I was on him last week. A T4, was really excited about him last week. Was my first click. Had a guy I was circled on because of his form coming in. Same sense this week. I couldn't get off of him because of that. I have Lee Hodges at 35, who tops my model as a good birdie guy, avoids bogeys, great approach player in green regulations, good scrambler. Ben Cole's 100 to 1. He is very accurate off the tee, green regulations, check out, voids bogey, same thing. And then Paul Peterson at 150 to 1. Runner up, I think, last week. He's first on tour in accuracy, 26 in bogey avoidance, 33 in scrambling, 33 in putting. Just some guys that, again, took some long shots there. And Vince Whaley really, uh, just because I was on him last week.
Yeah, I like all those plays, honestly, Nate. Just I'll talk about my two plays really quickly here. Max Homa 25 to 1. I'm a Max Homa stan. Felt like just such a big number and a guy who's so talented. Had a top five at the John Deere the last time we saw him. Gained on approach in three straight. We know the putter is good. And the driver seems to be turning a little bit of a corner. So it felt like a shot I needed to take as a big fan. And then I elected for David Skins. I got him at 130 to 1. A guy who's just coming in on some good form, driving the ball long and straight. Irons have been good. Short game's been solid. I thought this was a big number and a guy who's been playing some good golf. A T4 at the ISCO last week. It's T9 at the RBC Canadian a couple starts before that. So big number on a guy in some good form.
Yeah, some good plays there. Again, it's probably the weakest field of any PGA event we'll see this season.
Yeah.
Hands down, right? So take it with a grain of salt. Do whatever you want. If you want to skip this event altogether, a lot of people do. So be it. But it's a few bets there that make a little bit of sense, and at least in our minds, right? And it's crazy that not only Max Homa's in this field, but he's like the same. He's not in the top odds. Like I think Kurt
Yeah.
Kitayama's the top odds, like 20, and I want to touch that with a 100-foot stick. But Vince Whaley, I'm playing 25 to 1 when Max Homa is 25 to 1 in the same tournament. It's mind blowing. Vince Whaley was also the runner up here in 2022 to oh, excuse me, runner up here a season ago to Nick Dunlap's. There's that to add. We've seen some bigger names. I know Nick Dunlap's completely lost in the PGA Tour at this point, like one of the worst on tour at this point. But
Yeah.
actually, with Tia run here in 2023, then went on to win a PGA Tour event. 2022, I believe, was yeah Ches Reavie who won this event twice, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it's a I don't know if it's like a jumping off point. Eric Van Rooyen won here at one point, went on to win a fall series event, but he won again. So it's kind of a introduction type victory course. Like you win here and then you go on for bigger and better things. I know Nick Dunlap won before he won here last season, but yeah, this is his first victory as a professional, if that's says anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a unique event, something to if you need some background noise while you're you finish the open, you're like I want some more golf. You can turn the golf channel and the Barracuda will be on. Hopefully, I can go back to 2023 where I hit Brian Harman 120 to 1 at the Open and actually Tia 35 to 1. The Barracuda in the same day. I'd like to do that again. So that would Keegan Bradley and like a Lee Hodges double this week. Something like
That
that
would work.
would work for me. I'm not gonna complain if I guess I can get by with that. But yeah, after this, Jake, we hop into 3M. I won't be here next week, so got some sheep stuff to deal with. So Jake will either be solo, maybe a guest. We'll find something for the 3M. Then we're at the Wyndham. Then it's the playoffs, guys. We have 5 more weeks after this week. Listen to this, 6 weeks total before the PGA Tour season is done for the 2025 year. We head to the fall and get ready for 2026 season. Jeez. So yeah, we'll see if we can add a few more winners to the tally before we get done with the season. But yeah, Jake, where can people find on social media?
Yep, you can find me at DJ Freeman on Twitter. Both my outright cards will be posted there shortly, hopefully by the time you listen to this. Also, be sure to join our Discord, completely free to join. Reach out to Nate or myself to get you in there. 200 plus people in there. Great golf community that's going pretty much at all hours of the day. Mix of professionals and amateur gamblers and just novices of the game. And it's just a really valuable group chat to be in if you care about the sport of golf, whether it's betting or not. Also, NASCAR channel with Devin and Cody. I think I covered all my bases there. No hidden paywalls, completely free to join. Reach out to us and we'll get you in there as soon as possible.
For sure. Be sure to follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at WKF Nate. Be sure to follow We Know Fantasy on all forms of social media at We Know Fantasy. Be sure to visit WeKnowFans.com for some more fantasy sports content. Until next time, guys, we'll see you.